Hello guys, my name is Piotr, welcome to the Sitrep podcast. Today we are playing with my friend Arek a game of Team Yankee, 75 points. The scenario that we have chosen for today's game, or basically the dice have chosen for us, is dust up, because we both chose the attack stance, surprisingly. And when it comes to our units present, or our army lists, well, I have a French recon force, a wheeled recon force, and it consists of 8 AMX-10 RC cars, 4 AMX-30 tanks, 3 artillery units, 8 Mephisto, and a platoon of infantry, and plus the air support, which is 4 Mirages and 4 Gazelle helicopters. However, the dust up scenario says that both of us start the game with deep reserves, and this means that on the table I only have a platoon of infantry, 2 platoons of Mephistos, and 1 platoon of artillery, plus the commander. And
Mirages.
And Mirages, yes, because Mirages, they can come, it depends on the higher up in the rank to decide whether this battle of ours is going to be important enough for the Air Force to support us. And how about you, Arek? How are you today?
Thank you. Hello everybody. First to mention, I rolled the attacker. I won the roll-off, so I choose to fight at the day because Russian sucks at night. And I've got a 2 formation list. First formation is a T-62M list. It's 1 tank in HQ and 3 small 3-tank platoons. In this list I have also 4 BRDM-2s in recon, 4 Shilka anti-air tank platoon, and the second formation is a wheeled infantry platoon, battalion, 2 small 1 platoon companies with 2 Spigots each, and an HQ, and 9 T-55s AM-2s with barrel-fired rockets. And a platoon of artillery, which consists of 6 Acacias with Krasnopol guided missiles, and a spotter team. I had to put most of my tanks in reserve and 1 of my infantry platoons, and now we will roll off to decide who starts the first turn.
Okay, so let's see. And a 3. So I will start. So have a great game, Arek, good luck. And we shall see you guys after the first round.
Okay guys, so we are at the bottom of turn 1. The mission says that the player which starts cannot fire artillery bombardments and fires with the moving rate of fire. So most of the French vehicles cannot fire after they moved from the ones that are on the table, and also this allows the air support in the first turn. So it was quite unlucky for the French to start. And now the only movement of the French were moving some of the transports to get some cover and hide from the tanks. In my turn I put my tanks forward, pressed them forward, and some of my BTRs. I opened fire, bailing some of his vehicles, but didn't kill anything. I was lucky enough to range with my spotter the artillery on the hill, hitting the French artillery and the tank destroyers. I destroyed 1 IMX-1 and bailed the second one, and also managed to destroy 1 of the Mephistos. So this was the end of the turn, and now we go to the second.
Okay guys, so we are after my second turn. And what happened is that my aircrafts came in, so 4 Mirages, and they were aiming to destroy his artillery because it's really pesky, and as you can see, it already destroyed in the last turn 2 of my vehicles, 1 artillery and 1 Mephisto, so 1 anti-tank wheeled transport, so to speak. And what happened is that I failed the blitz test over here, so they stayed where they are. These 3 Mephistos ran over here, or drove over here to get out of the template. The artillery stayed in order to try to suppress his anti-aircraft shilkas over here, but they didn't manage to capture them. And my transports drove from here to here and tried to suppress his shilkas, managing to bail one. All this was done in order to try and to suppress the shilkas so that my mirages won't take as many hits as they should have taken. This reduced his number of hits by 6, so only 18 dice were thrown against my mirages, and actually I believe you had 9 hits? 12. You had 12 hits and you managed to shot down one of my aircrafts before they came in, and managed to destroy 3 of your Acacia artillery
and bailed the 4th.
And now we will move to Arek's second turn.
Okay, so in my turn I maneuvered my recon platoon to put some long-range fire trying to damage the anti-tank rockets cars. I pushed also my HQ and 3 of his tanks on close range, so one is in the minimal range, but the rest didn't manage to get to, and tried to fire on them, tried to score a lucky hit. I repositioned my shilkas because in this turn the first French reserves came. My BTRs stand the ground, artillery unbailed, the one vehicle. I fired with everything I've got into the Mephistos, scoring only 1 hit and destroying one of those. They are hard to shift due to their scout rules. And I managed to build 6, and with 6 BTRs I built and destroyed one of the VAP transports because they are annoying. And this is the end of my turn too.
Okay guys, see you next time after turn 3. Okay guys, so it's the end of my third turn. It was a blast, so to speak, because basically what happened is that my reserve didn't came, but my Mirage flight came again with 3 airplanes strong. Now the only movement I did, because these guys ran away, they destroyed their vehicles, and as the Frenchmen usually do, got their asses out of the battlefields to fight another day and drink wine and other stuff. This highly trained equipment crew managed to pass the blitz test, and one of the guys was like, "Sarge, why are we aiming our rockets in the earth?" "Don't worry son, they are guided." And they actually were, because I managed to hit 3 of his vehicles, even the tank headquarters, but he managed to swap the hit to this transport, to this recon unit. But with a firepower of 3+, I only managed to bail all 3 of the hits, so that was not good. It turns out their missiles weren't guided, actually. And or maybe they were, but they had some Czech, warheads in them. Yes, so thanks for dropping the word. My artillery again tried to pin down, not to pin down, but to suppress his shilkas, and I don't know. I destroyed one of the shilkas. Yes, I destroyed one of the shilkas with the guns. So I was lucky. I was happy because only 12 shots would go at my aircraft, but sadly he managed to shot down 2 of them, and the last one remaining didn't do anything actually. And now we're going to Arek's third turn.
Okay, so it's bottom of turn 3. I managed to get all my teams but 1 tank operational, which needed some HQ assistance. I pushed the tanks and the BTRs to see the Mephistos without cover. I moved on with the shilkas. I fired everything I've got into the platoon, destroying 3 vehicles in total. I fired Krasnopols also there, but failed to hit. Rockets there, my BTRs were gone to the ground, and this side of the table starts to look grim for the French.
Yes, indeed. Okay guys, so we are at the bottom of my 4th round. So my reserves did not come, sadly. I pushed some of the infantry over here because I had to secure this objective that is here. The rest stayed to protect this one. My Mephisto crews managed to blitz away from his tanks and shoot the missiles. I managed to destroy his tank commander, his platoon commander, but sadly he managed to get away and join another crew. And my artillery hit the same spot once again and managed to destroy one of his shilkas and bail the other one. However, did nothing to the infantry, and we will proceed to Arek's turn now.
Okay, so I kept pressing my tanks and my BTRs. The tanks passed the last stand due to commander nearby, but they are still in bad spirit for the next turn. I moved my shilkas out of the artillery template to save them. Infantry kept going to the ground because they didn't see any suitable targets. I managed to hit 2 Mephistos with my Krasnopols, but all bounced. The BTRs did better because they scored 1 penetration and destroyed one of the Mephistos. Tanks didn't hit anything, and I also didn't get any reserves, so the turns are quite quick.
Okay, end of my turn number 5. So my reserves came actually. So a platoon of AMX 30 tanks came over here. They are hiding behind the hilltop over here. My 1 platoon of Mephisto ran away due to the sustained casualties. This one managed to hold ground and even destroy one of his tanks. And what happened next, I tried to shoot with my artillery at his BDRMs, I believe?
BRDMs.
BRDMs, sorry, I always confuse the words. The BRDMs, but they didn't manage to range in, so nothing happened actually, and my infantry managed to dark in over here. So we shall see how Arek deals with this problem in his turn.
So end of my turn 5. I keep pressing with my tanks. I managed to destroy one of his artillery from my 2 shots, meaning they will have to pass a morale every turn from now. My BRDMs tried to destroy the one last Mephisto, but scored only 1 hit.
Failed miserably.
Yeah, and the armor held the 40mm. I got my first reserve, which is 9 T-55 AMs, and they pressed on my flank to help with the danger of my objective getting run down by the tanks, French tanks. My infantry were gone to the ground. I also pushed some shilkas to be also a target, to give a problem of target saturation. And this is end of my 5th turn.
Okay guys, so this is the end of my 6th turn, and basically a lot of things happened. I rolled crap when it comes to reserves, because on 4 dice I only managed to get the one that comes automatically anyway. So my funny 6-wheeled RC cars came with these terrible guns, and they managed to destroy one of your tanks, I believe. Both. They destroy both. Yes, they destroy both of these tanks. T-62s. So I managed to wipe out the platoon. Fine.
And the battalion commander.
Yeah, and this was the battalion commander. What's also interesting, my air force came. And this last man of the day, so to speak, managed to destroy 3 of the BRDMs, and the one is standing, but we shall see if he passes the morale check. It's great that he cannot reroll this, so maybe the Russians will run away. However, this flank seems to be secure for now. On this flank, my AMX-30s came to the tree line from behind the mountain, the hilltop, sorry, and destroyed one of his shilkas. But first, before they started to shoot, I managed to drop some artillery from the last one standing vehicle, and it managed to pin down the whole infantry, because when artillery hits, only one of the stands, or the whole platoon is usually pinned, and managed to destroy one of his infantry teams. So a lot of happened this turn actually. Many last stands or last action heroes, so to speak. So like the airplanes or the artillery guy.
The Mephisto run, the last one.
But the last Mephisto ran to join his comrades and to fight another day. However, what worries me is these 9 tanks coming, rolling actually from behind the tree line, because soon enough they will be somewhere over here trying to destroy my tanks. But we shall see how this plays out for Arek in his next turn. So see you soon.
Okay, so in my turn I passed all my last 10 tests. It was 2. I got only one reserve, the same luck as the French, where my T-62s dashed in the direction of the objective. My artillery the last turn managed to destroy the HQ with the bombardment, and in this turn they repeated the bombardment, killing 2 of 4 stands, forcing a morale test. I pushed my tanks, most of them dashed, but 3 moved normally, so 2 could shoot at the AMX-30s. My Shilka went on the side. AMX-30 side armor is so pathetic that a 23mm cannon can pass through on one.
French technology, come on.
And I pushed my infantry near the objective. All are out of their foxholes, apart from one RPG, which stayed foxhole, and I shot with everything I've got. My BTRs went to return fire on the side of the AMX-10s, because they killed my tanks like no tomorrow. I managed to bail 2 with my Shilka, which hit all 4 times, quite lucky. But most important, I hit with one of the T-55s, destroying 1 AMX, and I hit with 3 RPGs, 2 of them were the RPG-7s, so they went straight through, destroying two more tanks, and halting the advance, I think. BTRs bailed only one of the AMXs. My artillery, as I told you, killed 2 infantry stands, and this was all of my turn.
Okay guys, so the bottom of turn 7, we're still in the game, but it doesn't look too good for the French. But anyway, my airplanes came again, as you can see the Mirage over here. My last reserve came with the platoon of AMX-10s and a flight of Gazelle 20mm helicopters, and what they did was to bail the last Shilka over here. My AMX-10s that were here destroyed 2 tanks from the platoon of 3 over here, and these guys didn't do so well. Arek says it's because they have long barrels and this was such a very short range, so managed to destroy only 1 of his APCs, and the second one is bailed. However, the Mirage at the end managed to survive a lot of hits from his tanks and from his Acacias, and still managed to destroy 2 of his tanks. So we shall see how it goes for Arek next turn.
So I got my last reserves, which is infantry, with infantry. I passed all my last stands, which is on 3 platoons. I pushed my BRDM and my last T-62 on the objective, hoping that the infantry will fail the last stand of 5+.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. I pushed the tanks and the infantry passed a blitz test, so I could put my rockets inside the building on the first store. So I managed to hit with 4 rockets, destroying 3 of the AMX-10s. All my lesser shooting bounce off the armor, apart from 1 BRD, I'm destroying 1 from the rear. And I hope that I can finish the game in the next 2 turns, but we will see.
Okay guys, so the French are not going to give up easily when it comes to this table, and so this guy managed to pass the last stand and destroy 1 of the BRDMs and hide behind the tree line with the shoot and scoot rule. My murderous helicopters managed to destroy 2 Acacias and bail the last one, so he will have a last stand over there. and also to destroy some of the trees on the hilltop. I finally managed to murder the last standing Shilka over here, and these guys moved on a hold down position to this hill and destroyed the remaining two vehicles that were going to grab the objective next turn if I hadn't done that. Now what the problem that I see are these three tanks, because they will probably murder
No, they won't.
over here.
They are the last platoon of the formation, so they will automatically break.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know that.
But you have to mention that the infantry are run off.
Yeah, but actually Arek is right. Infantry decided that they have enough of the constant shelling, and they broke and got out of the battlefield. So we shall see if Arek manages to grab the victory this turn or not.
Okay, so after my turn, I noticed that the only thing I have to do to break the French companies to destroy one of the IMX-10 platoons, which I managed with with 4 shots from the T-55 SAMs. And this ended in the French retreating and giving the objectives, but still I got a bloody nose. The game ended in 6-3 because I lost 4 platoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 platoons even.
Yeah. I must admit that I haven't played this kind of army list for a long time, because I was focusing on the infantry for a long time lately, and it was fun. It was fun. It's one of Arek's lists actually, a nice modification of the original list, because he put in the Mirages and kicked out the Gazelle hot helicopters flight. And added some artillery into the list. It was fun. It was fun, but this French lists are really hard to play, because French armor is really it's paper. Yeah, because you have paper tanks, paper vehicles that can be opened with practically anything, and you really have to know how to maneuver this stuff around the battlefield in order to make everything happen as you wish to. And plus the vulnerability of some Mephistos, for example, is the fact that they have a minimum range of 8. So the idea is to come as close as possible to them, so they cannot shoot you. And something like this more or less happened over here. They still always have had 1 or 2 targets, but they still have to hit it, then destroy it, and then survive the next round. Which with their paper armor, it's really not that hard when you hit them. The problem during this game was were the reserves, but for both of us, because neither I nor Arek rolled the dice to bring some stuff earlier on the table, and we have to deal what we have. The problem is that Arek has a lot more of all the things he can put on the table when it comes to even the sheer size of the platoons. So I try to stand up and have a fight with the Russians, but in the end I got overwhelmed anyway. So Arek's, any last thoughts on the game before we close out?
So yeah, I have bigger platoons, but I am twice easier to hit, so it was a pain when like your 4 IMX-10 RCs murdered my whole flank with 3 rounds of shooting. And I think the French need some space, some buffer against the Soviets to buy time, and then they can chew up the list. I think we have to next time maybe try to defend with this list.
Yeah, we can try to defend with this list. However, it's tricky. It's tricky because you really have to hide all the French armor, so to speak, behind some obstacles, and count that you will manage to do a blitz move in order to shoot with your rockets, murder stuff, so he cannot retaliate earlier. Something like that happened over here when I failed the blitz test at the beginning of the game. I didn't manage to come to the tree line in order to murder his incoming tanks and recon vehicles, and this actually cost me the flank for a while. Then I had to, withdraw with some portion of the infantry over here in order to keep the objective secure and at least for a while defend the artillery, but this played out quite nicely when my aircraft came. The last guy came and destroyed 3 of the recon vehicles. Then I managed to survive and wait for the AMX tanks to come and murder his tanks. Actually, the French are really murderous when it comes to the firepower, because the firepower are on a 2 class, so it's really easy to kill something. I won't curse on the dice, but Arek saw my rolls today. They weren't too great. They got better at the end of the game when it really didn't matter. But it was a really great game. So thanks, Arek. See you next time.
Thanks, and see you next time.
And we're off.